Hello and welcome to Churchy Chats with the Church Girl. I am so excited that you are here with me tonight for this very special and exciting episode of Churchy Chats with the Church Girl. My name is Alicia Wiley. If this is your first time here, I am the owner and creator of Church Girl, which is a lifestyle brand and a clothing line that seeks to inspire and uplift everyone we have the privilege of connecting with. This is season 3 of Churchy Chats, and we are now airing live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So make sure to subscribe on all platforms. Tonight's guest is someone who's been on the show before, but tonight she's in a little different capacity. But before we get her in, make sure you share this broadcast, tell all your family, friends, all the church folks to come on in the room and join the conversation. Let's get tonight's guest in. Hey, Queen, welcome back to Churchy Chats.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me. Congrats on season 3.
Thank you. Thank you. I had you on in season 1, and we were doing the he said, she said thing. So that was fun. But I'm glad to have you back. Go on and introduce yourself or reintroduce yourself to the Churchy Chats audience.
Sure will. So, hey everybody, I am Queen Aftan Williams, born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana, but I am an Atlantan at this time. But I am the founder of Royalist Management, where we seek to help you with all your administrative needs. I have a nonprofit called Crown Up International, and I am the reigning Miss Georgia Royalty International right now.
Come on. Come on. I am so excited again to have you on, and we'll talk a little bit more about your story before we go into it. But before we go into that, just one little hot topic. We were not on at the time that this news broke, but I thought it would be a good conversation to have. So last month, the news broke that Steph Curry's parents, Sonia and Dale Curry, were divorcing after 33 years. So when I first heard the news, I was like, for what? You know, like that's my first response when people have been married for a long time.
Yes.
That's my first response. Then, you know, more and more things started to be added to the story, and there's accusations of infidelity on both sides and all of this stuff. And I'll tell you after, I used to feel like if you've been married for a certain amount of time, then why divorce? Why not just stay together? But I don't know if I completely feel like that anymore, because at the end of the day, if you're not happy, you know, and if something is no longer working, I don't care how long you've been doing it. You know, I don't know if I subscribe to just stay married because you've been married so long. But I do have my feelings. But I'm talking. What do you think about this?
I think that there's another excuse that people give to let's stay married for the kids. But because Seth and Steph are not the kids
At all.
anymore, I think they feel like, all right, they're good. They're making it in the NBA. We can go our separate ways because I done cheated on you. You done cheated on me. And I know they're saying allegations, but it seems like it's kind of truthy. They filed for divorce back in June, and so there's a point where you get to my happiness, my peace, my well-being, my mental capacity matters more than the history. And sometimes we harp a lot on history. I've known this person for XYZ time, so I can't just throw away that friendship, or I can't just not be in a relationship with them. But it's a fact that people, situations, and things do change. So while changes
Absolutely.
are taking place and coming into effect, sometimes it becomes a little too much to bear, and you feel like you've accepted it. Because see, when you don't accept it, if it was just like, I want to divorce you, and it was like that, but they've accepted it for a while now because they were first separated. So
Right.
when you've accepted it, then I think you can not feel the hurt and try to get away amicably, explain it to all that's involved, which is really the kids at the end of the day, and then go on to your happy place if there is one, be it if it's in another relationship or just by yourself. So I think sometimes when you get older, you have a chance, because I believe they were together for 33 years, but with the 33, they had known each other before then. So I
Yes.
think the familiarity of knowing somebody that long means
Right.
that you were on a discovery path. And so
Hmm.
now you discovered who you really were, and that which you were does not bring me happiness or does not serve me where I am, and vice versa.
Exactly. And, I read a couple of articles, and one of them said that, you know, she was living in Tennessee with somebody else.
Yeah.
And she said, no, I wasn't living with anybody else. I was living alone, but certain seeds, if they're sown and have time to grow,
Mhm.
then whether it's true or not, sometimes we are just not able to get past what we think, and because we think it so strongly, it becomes our truth. So even if there is an opportunity for people to reconcile, at what point does or at what point is there too much damage, even if it's, and I hate to say made up, but you know how we can kind
Yeah.
of jump to conclusions, especially in relationships. And the person can tell us all day long, they can take a lie detector test and all of
Mhm.
this stuff, but we believe it to be true and we just cannot pass that hurdle.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot. So I just hope that they find happiness, because no matter how old you are, no matter how long you've been in a situation, if it doesn't serve you, I truly believe that. I mean, it's hard for me to say it because I was always that person. If you've been married for all that time, just stay together. But I don't know if I can say that I'm all there anymore. I'm a little more on the side of everybody deserves happiness, and even above happiness, peace. So you probably won't see this, but Dale, Sonia, we wish you the best. um, so after I, well, I'll tell my little part of the story, which is not a big part, but you were engaged. Tell me what year?
2013.
2013. I remember you posting your engagement. I was extremely happy for you.
Mhm.
Um, saw your, engagement photos, all of that stuff, and kind of followed your wedding journey. And I remember on the morning of your wedding, and you were living in Atlanta at the time, right?
Yes.
Yes. And you posted a picture of you at Popeyes, saying that that was your preferred meal because you had a taste for it and it was what you wanted, and that was, first of all, an anomaly. Well, probably not for New Orleans women, but most people, on any kind of special day, women, we'd be like, we're not gonna eat, or we're gonna keep it light because I want. So I thought it was cute. I thought it was fun, and I saw that post, and then I didn't see you post anything else, which didn't alarm me because I mean, it was your wedding day, right? So I wasn't expecting to see, a whole
Mhm.
lot immediately. But your next post, I don't remember how long it was. You would have to, talk to us about that. But I don't remember the distance of time. But I just remember your next post
Mhm.
was you telling your story. So I'm going to let you tell your story from engagement to wedding day and forward.
Yes. So in 2013, and let me go back. In 2012, I met this guy. He was just great to me. We met at a house party, and he did not do anything conventional by giving me his number. We were playing Uno, and he wrote his number on my leg, and I was like, "Sir, not with a pen. What are you doing?" But
Right.
we cackled and laughed the whole night, and we were like instant friends. 5 days later, we were boyfriend and girlfriend out the
Wow.
gate, and we had fun, and we were together for a year before he decided to propose.
Hmm.
But in that time was a lot of, I accepted a lot of things that I would normally say, oh no, I ain't doing that. But like for example, he wanted to socially smoke weed, and I was like, I don't do that. I've never smoked weed. I don't know that life, and I don't want that to be a part of what I'm doing. But he was like, I won't do it around you. I won't blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, whatever. Just keep it away, and maybe you shouldn't do it at all. And he was willing to do that, I thought. And then also, he had a child already. I don't have any children as of yet. And so, my big goal was to be with someone who also did not have a child so that we could procreate together and that be kind of our gift to each other and a big thing that we would share. Because to be honest, virginity ain't something I can give on out to you. I don't have it, it's gone.
Yeah.
But I wanted to give a child. I thought that was really a big deal, but I accepted him already having a child. And I was like, okay, I'm a woman of a certain age, I guess after 25, it's going to be what it is. Let me just do what it do. And I accepted those things, and I thought that we could get through it. We had a lot of fun. We hung out all the time, and he was truly becoming my best friend. But like I said, in between there was a baby daddy, baby mama drama situations for one thing, and then there were so many other little sprinkles of things that you kind of write off, like he mean that, or that's not normally him, or whatever the case may be. And so they call them the red flags, those girls. And I let the red flags wave, and I was like, whatever. When I had an event for my nonprofit at the time, was it MUSIC, or it was I'm a Queen Foundation at the time. He came into one of my sessions, and he was like, I want to say something. And I was like, okay, babe. And that was when the proposal took place in front of all my little babies. Some of my family had come out, and it was a really special time. Caveat, he had told me that two things that I want to talk to other people about. You know how they say when people say things in a joke, it's usually what they really mean,
Yes.
or when people show you themselves, believe them. Uh, so he would say I host a lot of things, especially pre-pandemic. I was hosting this, hosting that, but anything I did with my nonprofit, I would host. So he would say, I don't know why they laugh at you. You not funny. I'm funny. I'm Kevin Hart funny. Why are they laughing at your joke? It's lame. It's corny, and all that. And I'm like, boy, he, ha 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 with him. But in the interim, I think he really meant that thing. And then he would tell me, there's really no such thing as queendom. So I don't know why you using that made up word. I think it's just to control your environment or your area. And my mama told me there ain't no definition for that. I'm like, well, I can say whatever word, I want to
Right.
say for my stuff. And so I those two things are significant because that's really large pieces in my life. And I really should have paid attention to that. But I also want to say in the interim, uh, sometimes you think, oh, we can get through anything. Because people say, before you get together, have a fight and then see how it's going to go. But I mean, I don't even think that's healthy, but that's what people do to see how you're going to react and if you can handle it. Now, there were times when I'd be over at his house and he may get in the shower, the phone ring, and I'm looking at the phone to say a lady's name. And I was like, well, who is this? And because he was so obvious and not innovative enough like that, I was able to crack the code on his phone, and I was like, who was this? Now, I should have, that was number three for me, because see, for me, I was never that girl. Looking through somebody's phone, I wasn't doing
Right.
it, but I did, and I did find what I was looking for sure. And when I would ask him about it, I find, like, because I was by his house so long, a lot of times, he been and took a nap, and he'd take a nap, and I would be looking at the phone, uh, crawling, trying, trying not to make noise, and like looking and reading and just hurting myself, just getting hurt and shocked and appalled and couldn't believe what I'm reading. And then I asked him about it. And he like, man, nah. And I'm like, listen, if I'm asking you about it, I already know the answer. So don't do this
Period.
to yourself, right? And so even the lying, I should have been like, man, he would lie to me. Um, and then him and I was on the same phone plan. And one time he took my phone away, and I was like, what? What you mean you take my phone?
Oh wow.
And I was just like very hurt by that. Like, what? So you gonna take away the thing that I have communication with, and wow,
Right.
you're really doing the most. And he told me get out the door, and I was like, wait, whoa, whoa, I don't know what's happening right now, but you need to relax, chill, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But those are compartmentalized things that I excused prior to the engagement. When the engagement happened, uh, before that, there was a couple, right, that was giving us advice,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, people he had known and who I did not like that, but we got to know each other.
Sure.
With the couple, they was, doing their talking, infiltrating, saying what should be done, and kind of maybe shaping or molding his mind for how he should be as a husband. Now, he did have a mom and dad. They had been married for 20 something years, and all of that. So I know he emulated that space as well. But they also had a cheating moment and infidelity in their relationship as older people. And so when we did get engaged, a beautiful engagement with a fake ring. Okay, beautiful engagement. And all of this happened. They brought out a cake, yada yada yada. Okay, and we're making plans, and I'm noticing that he's not being participatory
Mm-hmm.
in those plans. So the kind part, oh my gosh, I'll forever be in everybody's debt, who was just so awesome during that time period. They gave me the venue because I had brought so much business to one venue. They were like, "It's your wedding day, you can have it." So boom, the venue. I'm thinking, "Oh,
Right.
this is just God, because this everything is
Right.
just whatever." I mean, so the venue was at no cost. Algernon with his wonderful self did my gown. Again, hardly no cost to me. My daddy's side and mom's side was making all the food. I mean, from jambalaya to for some. I mean, they was doing it big. They had it. They brought New Orleans to the Atlanta, and they,
Yeah.
it was still a small wedding. I wasn't trying to do anything big yet because I believe you need to have your money together before you go and do the
Absolutely.
big thing. You could do
Right.
a year later, you could do a big old something, something that you need. So I was like, let's just do it with our families, and we'll go from there. And so, with that said, the people are I'm getting ready. I was trying to get his suit size and all of that days before, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna do whatever. I had one of the pastors at my church trying to help him have his suit moment, because he was just adamant about not wearing a tux per se. And
Right.
I was like, well, what you gonna wear? Because my dress, that design, it was fabulous. I'm like, I
Oh,
don't know what you
yes.
gonna do. So he was getting this suit together, but he kept not going to like the fittings, and I'm like, okay, what's happening? So I was staying with my nanny, godmother for people that's not from New Orleans. And
Yes.
I get a call from him at about 1 in the morning, the day before the wedding. So this means that the wedding was at like 2. So this is hours before we're supposed to get married. So 1 a.m. He's calling me, and he's telling me, I just feel like I want to have a better car, a better home, and more money, and these, that, and the third. And I'm like, well, if I'm about to marry you, we'll get that. I'm not concerned about
Right.
better this or better that. So we straight. Mind you, before this, he signed a deal with Sony, and they gave him an advance. He blew the advance, of course, like most people do, like the foolery of it all. He could have invested, he could
Right.
have done a bunch of stuff, could have bought his car outright, blew the advance, lost his car, yada, yada. But look at me with my love. I just was loving him and loving you anyway. Whatever you got going on, I don't care. We can build it back up, because I can pull that potential out of you and make it great, because I am a helpmeet and I am a wife. Oh, child, he went to work at Olive Garden after that to make ends meet. And I'm like, okay, whatever you want to do. I love that you will go back to work. So in that same spirit, that's why he got me a little fake ring. And I don't even know why he took me
And
to the
when did
jewelry
you
store to look
know?
around. Huh?
When did you know that the
When I
ring
know it
was
was fake.
fake? Uh
Oh,
huh.
I was, because when we were not engaged anymore, I was like, I'm having it appraised.
Okay.
Girl,
So you didn't realize until after.
they talking about this is glass. I said, oh, okay, this is glass. That's what we doing. We got glass. So I'm Cinderella. You want to give me
I'm
glass.
not about to play with you.
So after that, I did have a throw the ring in the river ceremony too at Rays on the River, just to kind of rid myself of that moment.
Mm,
But yeah, that morning, called me at 1 o'clock, told me he wanted this, he wanted that, and of course, me being who I am, convincing him otherwise. Like, babe, I'm here with you. You don't have to have all that
right.
right now. We'll get it. That's why we having a small moment right here. The
Mm-hmm.
community is with us. Everybody's donating. We're good to go. Even my hairdresser, makeup artist, everybody donated everything, and it was just a blessing. So he was like, "Okay, babe, we're gonna do this." I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"Let's do it." Okay. So I'm in the shower, washing my hair so that my hair blade could tackle what she's gonna tackle, because I need to be to her about 8 a.m. The wedding's at 2.
Mm-hmm.
Makeup artist gonna meet me there around 12 at the venue, and I'll get dressed. Elgin and I gonna meet me. Everything gonna be great. The people are arriving, and then when I'm stepping out the shower, I get a call and my stomach starts churning because I'm like, why is he calling me again? And I'm like, hey, babe, you excited? He like, look, I gotta talk. I can't do this. There's no way I could just have a wedding, and I'm just not ready for what we are trying to do. We need more time to be able to develop more money and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, but I just told you last night. And I said, you know
Right.
what? I said, okay, well, I say, have a good life. And I
Mm.
hung up, and after I hung up, I went numb. I was numb. I was numb.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't talk, move, breathe, or be. And I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
really? So my nanny and my mama, they did the troubleshooting. They called people, shut things down. And like I always say, in hindsight, I should have took my phone back from my nanny just so I could have that communication with other people. I'm a talker, so I needed to really get it off my chest.
Sure.
And but I didn't have the opportunity. I just fell to like I I was so shocked. I was in pure shock. I don't even know when I recovered from that. It took maybe, I think I was there silent for 2 weeks. I
Wow.
couldn't talk for 2 weeks, and he didn't. And my thing is this: I didn't know if he did anything to try to come and see me or anything, because my people had my phone, and you know how
Sure.
family is. Now, don't come over
Yeah.
here and talk to her. Don't do that.
Right.
I'm sure they were
Exactly.
very defensive of me, and so after that moment, I had a lot of happy weight. I was just talking to somebody about this other. I had a double chin. I was really getting big. I was so happy. And so I would walk. I don't know who lives in or is from Atlanta, but there's an exit 25 for Sandy Springs. And so I would walk from the exit right there, because my nanny would live right around the corner from that exit, all the way to where there's a Marshalls and Whole Foods, and walk back. And I lost that weight really quickly, but I was on the
Mm-hmm.
phone just talking and getting it out to somebody who would listen and have beautiful advice. Um, and so I was not, of course, ready to dive into a new relationship after that. Uh, and one day I had his iPad, and one day I pressed a button that connects your phone to your iPad.
Mm-hmm.
Big mistake, kind of, but big blessing for sure. Um, his text messages began to roll in. And when they did, I was able to read that he had gotten with a Caucasian young woman that worked at the Olive Garden. And she was actually the weed girl, the girl that sells the weed, roll the weed, and had a weed ready for you. And so I told him, oh, okay. He wanted a white girl. I can't turn white. I, I might be
Can't
light
do it.
skinned a little bit, but I can't turn into no white girl for you. It wasn't gonna happen, and I definitely wasn't rolling no weed, and I definitely wasn't selling it.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, that's what you wanted. I didn't know, and I definitely couldn't conform to be that. And they were, by that time. This is 2 weeks later. They're exchanging "I love yous," and I'm like, the heck? And she talking about what she about to pick up for. Uh, the son's birthday and Christmas, and we got to get him. And babe, you going to the store? I'm outside about to pick you up, and all of this stuff.
Oh wow.
And I'm just like, what is happening right now? Of course, he reached out to me, but it was for frivolous reasons. Now I'm gonna tell you something hood that happened. So the young lady, the Caucasian young lady, she
Uh-huh.
reached out to me, um, saying I need to let this go and all this kind of stuff. And I was asking, I'm like, don't you know? Because at the time I was still kind of I felt like I was engaged still. I was really respecting that he didn't want to do the wedding at that time, but I
Okay.
felt like I was still engaged.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so uh I was like, well, he's engaged. What are you talking about? You don't. I mean, she told me. She said, "Oh, I watched the video," and I said, "Oh, okay. So you know he engaged. Well, I'm just saying he been with me and this, that, and the third." And so
Oh
she was like, "I
wow.
need you to give his phone and his iPad back." And I said, "Who about to come?" Because see, she brought my New Orleans out me.
Period.
Like, who about to come get it? Because if you, I just told her, you run up on me, you gonna run up into something you don't want to run into. Not with my
Period.
family, and not with me. So I was like, you about to come? I said, come on, come on. If you come over here, you're gonna see what you're gonna get. And so it was the rudeness for me, it was the audacity for
Mhm.
me, it was the fact that he no longer was a protectivity point for me.
Mhm.
It was all about her. And I just couldn't believe. And then on the other side of that, a girl who was my friend of 12 years, I see her in his text messages too. She
Ooh.
talking to him about me, calling me delusional and all kind of stuff. They got plans to meet up, and so my nanny and them and my cousins was like, "Stop reading this," and I'm like, "No, this is I need this. What is
Yes.
happening right now?" So this
Oh
girl,
my
this is a
goodness.
girl who born and raised in Atlanta, started trying to get a New Orleans accent, all kind of stuff. You just really gotta watch, folks.
Mhm.
Trying to encroach upon your territory, being right in your vicinity. As always, and this is a story what I'm sure a lot of people, my mama never liked her. So you know how
Mhm.
that is. Mamas be knowing.
Yes.
They
They be
discernment
knowing.
be up here for
They
their
just know.
children.
They
You
just
know,
know.
but I'm like, Mom, no, she's not like that. And this is somebody who spent the night at my house, ate my
Mhm.
food. My mama was trying to call her daughter, be like, this is my daughter. We're cool,
Yeah.
whatever. I'm by their house. We doing carpool. I mean, this is someone that I felt was very close to me. And
Mhm.
so you talking to girl, a mess. In 2018, she
Uh-huh.
reached out to me to apologize. So from 13 to 18, she ain't said nothing because after a moment of them dialoguing, I
Mhm.
chimed in to say, "Hey, this is Queen. How y'all
Mhm.
doing? I see what y'all doing. I think it's horrible. I think you two are both indescribably horrible humans. And I need you to know that I've been watching everything y'all been doing."
Mhm.
And instead of an apology, you know what they did, Alicia? She
Girl.
said, "Now you know how I really feel." That's what she told me. Now you know how I really feel. He did not reply at all because he just was caught. I know how he was not right. He just was caught and he didn't even know I was reading everything. So he tried to come over after that to try to retrieve this iPad and all that other kind of stuff. And I really think we should let's get married tomorrow. And it was really a guise and it was really a stunt to do whatever, call himself getting mad because I was talking to my boy and you talking to him, and, trying to make something, oh God, just a
Mhm.
whole mess. And so in 2021, I'm very relieved. I feel great. I feel wonderful that that was not
Mhm.
something, a relationship that I was in because of how I was raised is to stick in it and come and overcome. And so I think that I would have tried to be in a marriage situation that was set up for failure from the
Mhm.
jump, and have been miserable and probably gave him passes and let him do some things just because I wanted to keep the marriage going. So I'm very grateful to the way that God snatched me from out of it,
Yes.
even though I could not quite understand the ramifications of what was going on because I did not have that particular foresight. So
Mhm.
I feel good, I feel blessed, and on to the next.
Yes. And that is quite a story. And as you were talking, one of the first things that stood out to me was, of course, the red flags. But, in most relationships, like you said, where we were getting older, that was at that time where it was like the real brink, if that makes sense. Now I'm into my 30s. So I'm like, whatever hasn't happened, Lord, I'm waiting on you. Hurry up. But I don't feel some of the pressure that
Yeah,
maybe I felt, at that 25-ish
sure.
age, So you get to a point where you're like, listen, I'm where I am in life and that's what it is. But you mentioned doors opening, and things happening in such a way that you felt that it was God. Can you talk a little bit about how sometimes open doors
Yeah.
are not actually God opening them, and how
Yeah.
we can recognize that it's
Sure.
not Him opening the
In that
doors?
time period, after it, I had to realize that was my goodness and my seeds I planted preceding me. That was I planted seeds, and it wasn't because of y'all's wonderful marriage.
That's
It was
good.
because of me and because of the community service I had done, or how I had put them up with the job, or looked out for somebody this way, or brought their company business. And so here I was thinking, this has got to be what I need, all while conveniently ignoring all of the other doors that were shutting. Uh, so if you're in a relationship and there are connectivity pieces that begin to disconnect, I think that that's worth paying attention to, because that is a closed door, right? And the way that I could not see it because I didn't want to see. Eve raps a song, "Love is blind and it'll take over your mind. What you think is love is truly not. You need to elevate and find." And
Yes.
that's not scripture, but that's from the book
Right.
of
But
Eve.
listen.
But I find it to be so true, because it's not that love is blind, because God is love. So God ain't blind. It's just
That's
that the
right.
way that we take in love, the way that we push out love sometimes blinds us, because we go into the agape space. We are so unconditional being. And I think it's more women than men, but we,
Yes.
we get to,
Agreed.
however you want to roll, whatever you're doing, because we're taught, I need to love you wherever you are, however you are, and for whatever you present. But it's not about the love part, because love also inside of it can birth beautiful correction, you know, and chastisement. And I should be able to
Yes.
say, look, Alicia, nah. The other day when you had your stomach out, I really didn't think that was what you need to do. But I didn't love you any less. I'm just trying to tell
Exactly.
you, I don't know if that's how you should be representing.
Sure.
And so when you come to the point of love where it's like, it don't matter what you say, don't talk about my man, I don't care what he doing. No, you didn't see him on the corner with nobody, and da 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 da. I think that that's when the love part makes things not be able to be seen, because you're such an advocate for this other human that you have made a decision to love without condition. And I believe that, and I believe we talked about this, that there should be conditions. I needed some stuff is conditional,
Yes, we
you
did.
know. Uh, you can't be just cheating on me, like songing them out there, and I'm just supposed to be like,
Right.
well, got to stay, with him. I'm gonna support him. What's the little meme? And I'm gonna stick beside
Yeah,
him. No,
you're right. No.
no, because that. So I deleted condition, thinking that goodness could override the fact that he wasn't showing up for his suit stuff and calling me at 1 a.m. and telling me all that was over my head. I was like, whatever. It's gonna happen. It's just got to, because what would be the point of him proposing to me if
If
it
he didn't
wasn't
want to
gonna
marry
happen?
you.
And so I
Yeah.
think that the blinders stay on for the red flags and those kind of things that we don't want to see. And then we take good stuff as signs, but we don't take bad stuff as signs.
That's good. That's
Mhm.
good. And you talked about how your mom didn't really feel comfortable with this friend who you later found out, was communicating with your, well, at the time, I guess you could almost say fiance
Yeah,
still,
yeah.
because it hadn't been broken off. Was
No,
there anybody that stepped in and said, Queen, maybe he's not the one? Did anybody have
no.
any? No,
There was
nobody?
never a person. And so that was a part of my I was not excited about when I made my post after, just to say, hey, we are not together. You don't know the whole story. You'll maybe find it out. I'll let you all know. Keep us in your prayers individually and collectively, and we'll let you know how we're going to proceed forward. My inbox was filled with so many ladies who was like, I have been there. I have done
Wow.
that. Thank you for being transparent. Uh, Without your story, I wouldn't have overcome. And I'm like, really? My inbox, I think there were 500 comments under that
Wow.
post on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
and I chose to say something because there was this prevalent thing that kept on being said because he I think the proposal was in November and we were to be married that December. Like he did
Okay.
December 8th, 2013, because I wanted an
Mm-hmm.
8. And people were
Mm-hmm.
like, why are you going so fast? You pregnant? And I was like,
You know that's their favorite question.
no, I'm not. I'm not pregnant. I just feel like we don't have to wait if it's not about to be this big plan.
Mm-hmm.
So all that came together within a month's time. And
Wow.
so my mom and other people were so kind to him.
Mm-hmm.
I guess trying to accept that because he was with me, then they would accept him as he was. But there,
Mm-hmm.
and so my upsetness came from to a lot of people when they started saying, "Well, I always knew he wasn't the
Mm-hmm.
one." And girl, when he did this, I could have told you, no, 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 but you never told me.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all invited him out for double dates, and you cooked food at your house for him, and you did
Right.
that in the third because um, I am the friend that will say, okay, well, I don't like him, girl, so
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Right.
And, you know, but I didn't, I think people were treating lightly with me
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason. I'm handling me delicately. One of my cousins always had a distaste for him. But
Mm-hmm.
again, nobody ever said, this is something I think that you shouldn't do. And so, but after everybody had a girl, I always knew on them
Right. Yeah, and I
for whatever
had an
reason.
experience where I felt like that with somebody that I knew, and I didn't say anything, and the marriage didn't survive. And after that, I said, I will never do that again. It is some kind of gripping that takes over you when you feel like I have to tell someone close to me that I feel like what they're about to do, especially as it relates to a relationship,
Yeah.
is not meant to be. But I vowed to myself and to all the future people in my life or the people currently in my life that will be in these situations that I will say what I feel so strongly about because I owe that to you. Now, once I say it, if you feel like going forward is what you want to do it. You know, I'm not necessarily telling you to change your mind as much as I am telling you because usually if something is right, I say it's the Lord that told me. I always give him credit for being right. So I'm going to do what I feel compelled to do. And whatever you decide to do, I will support you. And I think that can be tricky as well because we think well, you feel like I know how you feel, so do you really support me if I decide to go forward? But I'm that person. Yes, I do. Once I've told you, I'm in full support of you, of what you want to do. I may not be in full support of it, as in I agree with the marriage or the
Yeah,
arrangement,
and I get
you
that.
know, but I'm in full support of you, so I will stand beside you. But I could not let my heart be broken on the back end when all I had to do was have a conversation about something. And if they had gone forward with it, it would have been nothing I could have done, but they would have known.
Yeah.
So
And I know
go
that's a
ahead.
tricky space because,
Hmm.
you want to regard someone's feelings and you don't want to come off like a hater or something like
Yes.
that, especially if you're single yourself.
Hmm.
So I understand how it could be like that. But what I don't, I guess, respect is I always knew and he was never
Right.
this.
Yeah.
Don't do that to me because you should
Yeah.
have just said something in the midst if you felt so strong. Now, if you
Hmm.
just had an inkling or whatever it
Right.
is, I get you keeping it to yourself or whatever it
Sure.
is. But I'm not that friend. I be like, child, are you sure? Like it's just like if somebody comes to you and say, oh, he hit me, but girl, he was mad. So
Right.
that's all. He ain't gonna do it no more.
Mm-mm.
And then it's like, okay, girl, but just be careful. But then
Right.
she tell you another story. It's like, hey, yo, get out of that, and I don't
Yeah.
support you
Right.
in it.
Right. Right.
It's just the same strong thing as matters of the heart. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that broke me. And let
Sure.
me just use the word I used during that time. I was destroyed. It
Mm-hmm.
destroyed me. It destroyed
Mm-hmm.
me for some years. And then in maybe 2018
Mm-hmm.
was when I started getting strength. 2019 was when I was officially over. So from
Mm-hmm.
2013 till I was like, all right, I officially became delivered from it. But everybody in the situation, I forgave them in 2014 because that was December. I
Okay.
needed a second. So 2014, I forgave. They didn't apologize.
Mm-hmm.
I just forgave them.
Okay.
2018, the friend, 12 years, she decided to say, I don't think I was the person who I was supposed to be. I'm in therapy. And so I want to apologize for that moment. And she said, but how you been? I was like, I'm good. And she was like, well, I'm not trying to rekindle anything. I said, oh, well, nothing was going to be rekindled, but I want you to
Don't
know
even worry.
I already forgave you.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw you in that moment. It's not, I don't
Mm-hmm.
care if you're going to therapy. You took 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18
Mm-hmm.
to apologize. And you were on the front. You were so busy trying to get my man.
Right. Right.
You didn't have a moment to be my friend. And
Mm-hmm.
in turn, you are sabotaging my other pieces because the couple that was dealing with us, I came to talk to her about them, like, oh my gosh, they're
Mm-hmm.
not doing what I need, and they were supposed to call the people on the guest list, and it's like maybe they holding the numbers, but I'm trusting them to call. And it was like, well,
Right.
maybe she said, well, maybe you being a little to me. It's my wedding, and I need her to call the people on the guest list because it wasn't like a big
Okay.
invitation. It was one
Right.
month, so I had to call people. I couldn't
Sure.
say whatever. I need to get on the phone with the folks. And so
Right.
I should have done it, but they was like, we want to help. And that was a task I felt like they could
Mm-hmm.
grasp onto and handle. Um, so even then, got leery of her because she began to hang with the couple,
Mm.
you know. And so yes, I understand as another kind of friend, you may say, oh my gosh, I don't want her to be mad with me. I don't want her to turn on me. But sometimes you have to go in your head and say, is this a risk worth taking so that
Absolutely.
she and he don't get hurt in the long run and that time is not wasted? Because I'm so big on that. I don't like
Yes.
that's not waste. I don't want to waste yours, don't waste mine.
Don't
Because
waste mine.
even way before the engagement, if he would have said, I don't want to do this, I don't like you no more, I'm like, all right.
Cool.
But not
Yeah.
not I'm getting dressed and the
Right.
food is being warmed and taken to the venue,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. But yeah.
And you said it took you
Mhm.
many years. You said 2019 you were completely,
Yeah.
delivered from it.
Mhm.
What did the healing look like throughout? When did you finally get that even first inkling of healing and coming back together and putting your heart back together? How long did that take?
Sure, people, may often, let me use like a scab, for example.
Hmm.
Initially, you cut yourself and that thing is to the white meat. It
Yes.
don't look good, it don't feel good, it's burning, it's stinging. You put some on, it's stinging even more.
Hmm.
But eventually, a couple of days later, your skin will do what it's supposed to do.
Hmm.
And it'll start to heal. You could use an aid, Neosporin or something like that to come and
Hmm.
heal it, but it still may leave a mark there that you could keep on nursing and find an aid for, but it may still leave a mark. I use that example because a lot of times when we get hurt, it's not something that we're prepared for. It's not
Hmm.
something that we're ready to encounter.
Sure.
That is how I got destroyed because I thought we were in it to win it. And I
Hmm.
was calling him my king, because they call me queen. I was like, this isn't my king, I'm doing all of that. And it doesn't matter how many times he lost out, how many times he went through that money, how many times I had to go to work at Olive Garden, how many times this or that happened. I was still a champion for what he had. So
Hmm.
some people use this phrase, nothing shocks me anymore. But no, no, no.
Hmm.
I still get shocked.
Yeah.
I I be in disbelief at stuff.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so when somebody, like for example, if your friend of 12 years is all of a sudden not talking to you, or you
Mhm.
find her and someone's text, that's a shocker to me. I could
Right.
my head, my cerebral was not prepared for that
Yes.
moment. Somebody leaving me before I even get to the altar. My
Mhm.
head was not cerebrally there to the point where I was still willing to say I was engaged.
Mhm.
Uh, and so there was an inkling where, sis, other people like you. Okay, you a whole prize out here, and I wanted to experience mm, healing for me before
Mhm.
I open myself up to anybody else. Um, Here's the issue with why it took so long. Things kept coming out.
Mm.
I kept discovering more and more.
Kept
And
picking
I'm
that
just like,
scab.
can I? It kept
Mhm.
on being torn up. And I'm like, can I experience any more than this?
Mhm.
And so in 2014, of course, as the year went on, guys wanted to date me and things, but I was not quite ready for it. And those who had shot their shot before in the past thought this was a wonderful opportunity
To just
to
swoop on
come and
in.
try to swoop in, but it wasn't. And so there was a moment where I began to dissect uh, what I wanted.
Mhm.
When I was a little girl, they would say, "Be specific."
Mhm.
They would say, "Write down what you want" and all of that. But child, that don't always be how it comes to you.
That's
And
facts.
I realized that I had settled.
Mm.
I didn't think I had, but I realized I had settled, and I realized I had settled within the greatness within me too.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and it took a while because I decided to immerse myself in work
Mhm.
instead of dealing. And during that time, I had got hired with Michael Kors in the as a style consultant. And right after that, I wrote my 2 weeks to them and went on tour with Chrisette Michelle.
Mhm.
And so I didn't have time to look around, look down.
Mhm.
So in about 2016, I was no longer with that camp. And darn, I felt like I got destroyed again. I was
Mhm.
like, shucks, man, this is tough right here. And
Yeah.
I realized something, and that's when I started to heal.
Mm.
That the Lord knocked on my door many times. He told me with this red flag and with that particular notion and that occurrence and that situation that I need to come up out of that thing.
Mhm.
But because I didn't, then he had to destroy it instead of just taking it away gently. He
Mhm.
tried to take it away gently
Mm.
several times before, but because I did not hear, I did not listen, and I'm dealing with somebody who I'm under the guise. Because that was the other thing, our relationship with Christ. I felt like we were so in tune and in line, and I was like,
Mhm.
yes. But then here's another thing. Then he started reading The Secret and trying to pull me into that realm as well.
Mm.
And me, I'm like, oh, yeah, some good things in that book, but I was
Right.
still going to my church, still dancing, I'm
Sure.
doing what I got to do. So there was an unequally yoked piece that I was not recognizing because he was still saying Jesus, right?
Mm. Mm.
So with that
Ooh.
said, I couldn't necessarily navigate properly, but because I had all these times where I could have left, I could have gotten out, I could have let it go, and my heart was in the way so much,
Mm.
then instead of God saying, come on, come over here, just sit
Mhm.
here, I have somebody better. No, no, come on. I had to be destroyed and it had to be yanked, it had to be snatched away, it had to be taken away in a manner by which I would never go back to it.
Mhm.
Um, and then he started doing it with a few other things, taking things away horribly. And I was like, sir, you don't have to do this. So that's
Right.
when I began to change my language to God. I used to talk to God like, oh, most gracious and heavenly Father, right now, she here.
Mhm.
Now I'd be like, Lord, you out here,
Listen.
okay? You wildin'.
Listen.
What's up? You need to tell me what's
Listen.
going on. Like, I don't know.
Listen.
And I always tell the Lord, you wrote this story. You already know the ending. Wrote the beginning. You orchestrated all this. So don't let me be going through like this. What's up? Tell me now. Don't let me have to suffer. What's up?
Right.
Because we talk real
Right.
different now.
Yeah.
And so um, I think after a couple of destroys,
Mm-hmm.
by 2016, I began to go, let me do what I need to do for me.
Mm-hmm.
And because what the seeds that were planted into me as a church girl was that when you
Mm-hmm.
start doing things for yourself, you're selfish.
Hmm.
And selfish became a bad word.
Yeah.
Like, Don, you got to serve the community, you got to do
Mm-hmm.
this. You doing stuff for you is selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Give to the church. Don't worry about you.
Mm-hmm.
Selfish.
Right.
And so when I began to kind of think about me and put myself in a position to win, because then if I'm not doing that, then I'm not fulfilling my destiny and purpose. So
Mm-hmm.
I began to realize that thing. And that is when the healing started because I wasn't wanting a relationship, never left my mind. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
wife,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a helpmate. And
Yeah.
even in that space, I was training to be that. I was equipping myself for that
Mm-hmm.
way back in 2013. And that's when I was able to start after I got destroyed, after I got hurt enough, and I put
Mm-hmm.
myself in the foreground instead of the background and begin to examine me, see what it is
Yes.
I need, want, desire, can't do, need to stop, have to shut down, need to pull away
Mm-hmm.
from, need to back out of, and then I began to heal. And the healing, it took a while because I don't think you ever healed until
Mm-hmm.
somebody can mention that person or you could go over to the situation and you're not feeling anything for it.
Sure.
Even when you asked me about this, I had to remember. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what happened? Because I was so over it. I couldn't even remember. But I said, God, bring it back to my remembrance because I want to help someone because I already know that this is not me. It didn't end with me. This is still going
Mm-hmm.
on.
Yes.
So yeah,
And
so when I put myself first and then included God in the equation to help me to
mm-hmm.
understand me totally, then I could walk into the queendom that I had established
Mm-hmm.
instead of saying, oh, I don't know if, let me just say, that was the year that I snapped back because I
Mm-hmm.
really had, see that, see, he planted about, you ain't funny. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why they laugh
Mm-hmm.
at you. You host
Yeah.
everything. You ain't really good at that. Queendom, it ain't nothing. Got on the phone. I called my friend. I said, am I funny? Because I mean, he was telling me, she said, I will beat this. I'm like, no, you are hilarious. What are you talking about? She
Yes.
said, every time I'm on the phone with you, I cry laughing. What is your problem?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he knocked the wind of my purpose out of me.
Yeah. My goodness.
He knocked my funny out. He knocked my innovation out. He knocked my
Mm-hmm.
creativity out of me
Mm-hmm.
because he didn't want for me to be an accelerant past him.
Mm-hmm.
He needed a dimmer on me so that he could shine. Not knowing and seeing that I was trying to push him ahead, but see, there'll be times when we go to restaurants or whatever. People say, Queen, that's you? Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh, let's take a picture, girl. I ain't seen you, and whatever.
Yeah.
But that's just me. But he couldn't,
Mm-hmm.
that couldn't be accepted because he had got a whole deal with Sony and it wasn't going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so he needed to try to shut me down or make me small so that he could seem bigger. So when I snapped back into it, then God began to say, aha, there you are, girl. I was looking for you. Found
Yeah.
you. Here y'all. Now let's heal.
Yeah. And it's amazing because most people, we know, like you said, it's still happening and this happens every day. But how often do you hear somebody that's willing to talk about it? It's just something that certain things that we go through, um, we just want to kind of hold on to. And I think society plays a big part in that because for women, now you hear people talking more about, losing children and miscarriages and stuff like that. But that was one of the other things that had this big, stigma on it. And women wouldn't discuss it. So, literally, generations of women are going through the same thing, thinking it's me. I can't hold a child or I can't, whatever, fill in
Yeah.
that blank. When so many other people have experienced this and they just don't feel that they can discuss it. So I appreciate your willingness to have this conversation because I know. Trust me, it's helped me. And so I know that it's helping anybody who's watching this broadcast.
Mhm.
And it's safe to say that you weren't soured on marriage because of this. Is it safe to say?
No, it is safe to say that I absolutely, I still feel like all of my spirit and my soul and my mindset says that I am a wife, and I know how I could add to someone else's life and how we could make a beautiful thing together. So I'm not soured about marriage. I have a deep belief in it at its core and what it's supposed to be through Christ, and I want to experience it, and I'm quite sure that I'm still supposed to. And there are people that'll say, oh, wait on the Lord, He give it to you in this time. And, I know somebody that's 45, 50. That, no, 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 I don't want that. I don't want
Right.
that. I don't want, no, no.
That's me.
While I'm in my 30s, the Lord is going to
Yes.
take care of me in that area, and I will be able to be fruitful and multiply. I don't want a miracle, baby. I want to have the
Right.
one that's supposed to
Amen.
happen in the time. And,
Yes.
I believe I'll be able to be young with my husband, and that is the desire of my heart.
Yeah, and I'm with you. A lady at church, I don't think she meant, any harm, I guess. But it was a little baby in a stroller. And I was like, oh, the baby is so cute. And she was an older lady. And she was like, you better hurry up before you not be able to have none. I said, no. I said, don't say that. I said, I was
Don't.
like, no. And when I say it happened so fast, because first of all, it hit
Yeah.
me so hard. Like, I'm just playing with the little baby in the stroller. And you, first of all, get out of my ovaries
Yeah.
and
And
my
you coming for
business.
me, and I didn't send for
You
you
know,
at
and
all.
you might be 80, but I'm gonna need you to understand that this is not how this works. And I was like, don't do that. I was like, no, ma'am. I was like, however many children that God has meant for me to have, I'm gonna have them, and it's not gonna be an issue, and it's none of your business anyway.
At
But
all.
people are just, they'll say anything to you.
Yeah, they're harped on it. A beautiful pastor that I love, she came to me. She said, "I want you to start thinking about freezing your eggs." Mm-mm. No, I'm okay. Yeah, because pretty soon time gonna wind up on y'all, and y'all need to be doing it.
Oh my
Get those eggs frozen
goodness.
so that we can make sure that we have babies. Hmm. Yep.
You know, the saints of God, I don't, and now it's more of a thing that you'll see, even on social and stuff like that, not to ask women about, you know, children and
Yeah.
marriage and stuff like that. But for so long,
Yeah.
people
That's
just felt
that's
like they
regular.
had the right, right,
Right. Hmm.
and you just don't because it's none of your business at all. So anybody watching that you feel like you still have the right to ask man, woman, boy, girl about their personal business, you don't have the right. Or to insinuate that, you need to do something because your time is running
Yeah.
out. That's not your place to speak on anybody's time
Yeah.
or
And
God's
let me
time.
also tell somebody who's out there watching, just to help you. Don't
Okay.
also tell ladies that they must not be doing something right, or
That
that
part.
God is punishing them. They,
Ooh,
don't do that.
that
You
part.
don't do that, because you're too far in my business for one thing.
Listen,
You too out of what I have relationship with the Lord in. You don't know what we
okay?
be talking about. So don't do that. But
Don't do it.
I don't want you to feel like because your husband is not here yet, that God is punishing you, or that you are you're so horrible that you don't have a husband yet. You know how
Yeah.
many horrible people got a husband?
Listen, and they not cute. On top of that, no
Okay.
shade,
And I be
but I'm
like,
just saying,
how y'all okay, you
right?
know? So no, don't you feel like, oh my goodness, I fell and bust my knee and that's the reason why, or I came short of the glory of God. Now he ain't gonna bless me with a you gonna
Don't
fall short in
subscribe
your
to it.
marriage.
Okay, it's gonna
Look,
keep happening as long as you're
we
human.
human, we flesh and blood right here.
That's
You
all that it
talking about?
is. And so
I have
that thing, mm,
something coming up that I believe I shared with you, because there are ladies and gentlemen who are rendering pieces of advice from their era. And the 2020 man and woman, are not the 1980s, 70s, 60,
Period.
50 man or woman. Not
Right?
even the 2000s. This ain't the same.
No, it's not.
So you can't talk to me about what's happening in this climate, about the privileges that men have been afforded that they weren't quite afforded before. Like somebody's talking about, oh, you want to take me out on a date? Nah, come to my house. I'm gonna cook for you instead. Oh, no, no,
Huh.
no. That's not how things work. And so,
Period.
because of that,
Hmm.
men operate differently with the ladies. And I am still under the belief system that God has who He's going to have for me, and we will meet in a time and we're supposed to meet. I'm not in a rush for it, and no, and I know I might get nailed to the cross for this. Oh, but I'm gonna say it.
Say it.
Don't try to keep making me Ruth, okay?
Girl.
Telling me I need to wait for Boaz. That ain't my husband. Okay?
Girl. Talk
That's
talk.
her. That was who she was supposed to be. I am not supposed to be with. Don't tell me just work and he gonna come. Just be in the field. Just forget about this. And when you forget about it, you're not worrying about it no more. That's when he. Don't tell me that.
Don't tell me that.
Because if
And
I
I
am
mean
in
don't.
constant prayer for my husband, then he gonna be on my mind. You know,
Period.
leave
Period.
me alone. I don't want Boaz. Me and him wouldn't have
Mind
gotten along.
your
I don't want
business.
him.
Okay? I already have one kinsman
Yeah.
redeemer. His name is Jesus. I'm not looking for Boaz. No shade.
And ain't no
Um,
field out here for me to work in.
okay? And
And
if it
the
was, I wouldn't
darn
be out there
Proverbs
working in it.
31 woman that's a big deal. She had a lot going on.
Do you
So don't
understand?
expect for me to do all that in the
Okay?
2021s. No.
It's 2021. Um, this conversation has been such a blessing to me. And again, I want to thank you for coming on to share this. I know it has been a blessing. And if you are watching this, whether you're watching it live or the replay, make sure you share this with someone that it will be a blessing to. Man, woman, boy, girl. It's some good nuggets in this for any and everybody.
It's
And
nuggets
right
and
before we go,
sauce. Nuggets.
okay, and the good sauce, the good Chick-fil-A sauce.
Yeah.
Before we go, Queen, if there is somebody right now that's, you know, day after, 2 days after, a month after, even a year after, that has experienced what you went through, what word of advice, now that you are on the other side, you used the word delivered, completely delivered. Now that that is where you are, what word would you give to someone who is
Live through it.
starting?
Live through it. And don't let anybody undeliver you from your deliverance place.
Mm,
Furthermore,
mm,
there should be no humans that should tell you about the orchestration that God is going to do for you when you know you have a relationship with God. And I just mean what I mean by that is some people will say, "Oh, you're gonna get another husband, but he might not be in a package that you've been thinking."
yes, he will.
Yeah, yeah, well, don't do that. Don't believe the hype. Keep
Yes.
in the logic space, in the spiritual haven that you know that you've been developing. Sometimes it may be hard to get back on that horse, but live through it. And don't let anybody undeliver you from the deliverance place that you are either seeking or that you have reached. Sometimes it's hard because those people who try to talk to us are people that we respect, elders in the church, our own family and friends, people who we look at as a mentor. But ain't none of them God. Ain't none of them could be called Jesus. Ain't none of them done those particular exploits upon the earth nor in heaven. So you keep your wits about yourself. You then put yourself first. Learn yourself totally. Get to know you. Have fun with you. Immerse yourself in the thing you feel is supposed to be your destiny and purpose. I think all of us feel that tug for what's supposed to be our destiny and purpose. Go with the tug.
Yes.
Do that thing, but please, if you don't hear nothing else, don't let anybody undeliver you from your deliverance place. Don't let them orchestrate what they feel like you're supposed to have, especially if they still single. Okay. And
Especially.
Ensure that you live through it. You out there, you shall live and not die because somebody was not your partner anymore, because somebody was not in spousal covenant with you anymore. You are the head and not the tail. You are above and not beneath. You got this. It's okay. An old school saying, there's more fish in the sea,
Yes,
but please don't go into another thing undelivered or unhealed.
that's good. That's very, very good advice. Queen, tell everybody where they can find you, how they can connect with you,
Mhm.
and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, sure. So all social media platforms, I am Queen Afton. That's at sign Queen Queen Afton. A as in Alpha, F as in Foxtrot, T as in Tango, A as in Alpha, N as in November. On all social media, and my numbers and everything are on there. I am a DM answerer, so please
Slide in the
reach out to me.
DMs.
Slide on in, and I will make sure that you don't bust your knee when you get in there. I'll answer you accordingly. This has been my pleasure, as always, to speak to you and to speak to the Churchy Chats audience. I have so much coming up, so stay tuned. Even with what I'm trying to do, God be placing stuff upon me, and it's scary to do, but I'm gonna do it because it
Do it.
my obedience is not gonna waver. But it's scary, but I'm gonna do it. So stay
Do
tuned
it.
and be in tune with me while I pray for you.
And I cannot wait to see all that God is going to do in your life in the area of a relationship and your ventures and your ministry. You have always been a light. You have always been somebody who changes the atmosphere when they enter the room, and that will never ever change. I love you for it, and I love
Love you
you for
too.
not dimming your light for anybody because it has always been so bright. So thank you so much for coming on tonight. Thank you for sharing your story. And I pray God's richest blessings on your life. And I'm going to just be over here on the side, with my Michael Jackson popcorn, rooting you on, sis.
Yeah.
I am so full from tonight's episode. It was so many good things that were shared that can help so many people. So, again, share this with someone who needs to see it. We are rolling our way through season 3 of Churchy Chats. I appreciate you viewing as always. We will be right back here, same place, same time next week on Churchy Chats with a Church Girl. Until then, stay churchy, folks. Good night.